And we are back. It's the voice of the blockchain, Satoshi's big cousin, cryptography's finest, Champagne Crypto. Thanks for tuning in. Your favorite YouTuber here, back with another live stream, our second one of the day. Today we're having an open discussions, as we do every single Friday. We can discuss crypto, diet, exercise, politics, and more. As the rest of the boomers tune in to this live broadcast, let's give it a few moments for everybody to pour on in. Not sure if you guys are getting your post notifications, but I'm sure that most of the boomers from our last live stream are sticking around, and they'll be showing up in just a moment. Shout out to Jojo Wave. He's the first guy in the box today. He says, boom, no fat, no PMO, soy free 300 gang. Boom, no FAP indeed. We've talked about that as well. The power of no FAP, guys. Don't be too much on Pornhub, RedTube, or don't be on it at all. It's a waste of time, zapping your energy, degeneracy, corrupting your mind out there. There's nothing cool about it, guys. It was fun at one time, maybe when you were a child or a young cadet, but use that energy to apply to something productive. Indeed. D-Rock says, I'm here, champ, helping a neighbor move furniture. Can't type much, listening on a headset. Shout out to D-Rock, and good for you helping your neighbor out there. You got to treat your neighbors well. Indeed. And that's something we can all work on. So much of us are distant from our neighbors. You know, people live in these cities and these neighborhoods, and, you know, the majority of us don't know all the neighborhoods on the block. And that's could be a good thing should the power go out, or we get hit with these natural disasters, or what guys were calling it, those magnetic EPM, or where they zap all the electronics or whatnot. It's good to have build with your community out there. So shout out to D-Rock, Jojo Wave, and the rest of the boomers tuning into this live broadcast. Indeed, this will be an open discussion, diet, exercise, politics, and more. Right when we got off the stream earlier, you guys were discussing several things, including this bill that, or I mentioned it, this bill that Trump's about to sign, which looks like a bad deal. And then he's declaring a state of an emergency. So this bill somehow gives more billions to Israel. Okay. And let me explain to you. I'm not against Israel, but what I am against is us sending all this money to them. And also what I'm against is that all these not all of them, but a majority, well, maybe not a majority, but a significant amount of politicians hold dual citizenship with Israel. So I'm questioning, are these people for Israel, or are they from America? I'm all for MAGA, making America great, but I'm not sure how you could make America great when you have loyalties to another nation. So that's funny. ASP says, you're an Electronium or not. I was an Electronium earlier, but I haven't been on the Electronium train for some time now. No need to FAP, just get Tinder, says Derek McLean. Shout out to Derek out there, our crypto brothers here in the box, making movements out there on Tinder or whatnot. I see you. Batman's in the box. I see Batman shows up for the open discussions more than he does the crypto chats. So I like that, Batman. Do you tune into the crypto broadcast, or are you only here for the open discussions? That's cool. If you know, either or both, that's cool. I just normally see Batman here on the Friday streams. Nano Joe said, third year of Trump's presidency, and he has yet to drain the swamp and the Federal Reserve. Satan can't cast out Satan. Just saying, he's provided hopium for the MAGA folks. It's certainly appearing like that, Nano. And, you know, well, I'm not a crazy Trump supporter. I mean, I'm definitely behind making America great. I mean, like, how could you not want to make America great? But it seems like when he's signing a bill like this that sends more money for Israel to build their wall, I don't know if that's making America great. So that's what it is. You know, I don't like that, guys. I'm going to be honest with you. And I'm starting to wonder who he's working for, and whether he's controlled opposition. And, you know, there could be powers that be, or Zionists that want the whole system to go down. And it's just like creating more infighting in between people, because this has been nothing but fights back and forth, and it's been a division for this country, if you ask me. So that's what it is. Your country, new coin coming, JPM coin by JP Morgan. What do you think? Says ASP Hero. Looks like a fake crypto. We just did an entire broadcast about the JP Morgan coin right before this today, so you may want to check out our last video. I just finished it just a few minutes ago. We had a whole entire broadcast about that. But to wrap it up, what do I think? It's not a crypto. They're even calling it a digital coin, so I don't think there's anything cryptographic about it. I'm not sure if you can mine the coin, and my understanding is that you can't even trade it outside of JP Morgan itself. So what do I think? It sounds like a counterfeit fake crypto, if you ask me. Jojo says Trump is clinically obese now based on his BMI. How you gonna MAGA when you got excess estrogen flowing through your system, says Jojo. Yeah, you know, in his defense, I think some of the BMI stuff, I don't really follow BMI. I'm going to be honest with you, you know, because you could be like, for instance, look at Thor here on the thumbnail. You know, I'm sure he's got a high BMI, but this guy's diesel. So, but yeah, I get where you're coming from. He's definitely looked like some soy has gotten to him lately, you know. But, you know, I would question if he's a soy boy. I mean, like, you know, he definitely seems like, you know, he's focused on what he wants, but I'm starting to question if it's really MAGA. It's more like, you know, just trying to make Israel great, if you ask me. And again, I'm not against the state or any nation state out there that's trying to support theirs. You know, if the Israelis want to make Israel great, then that's good for them. I have nothing against it, but that shouldn't be overlapped with our politics. We should snipe it out the box and use that money for us. Indeed. Nano says if he wants to make America great again, he would do away with the U.S. monetary policy, but that means he would risk being JFK'd. He's probably buddy-buddy with the Rothschilds. I don't know. You know, I don't know. But, you know, I do like the fact that he has called out the Federal Reserve before, and he's kind of, you know, signaled that he wants to try to end it or whatnot. But, you know, I don't know if he's just trying to sell. You know, we do know he's a salesman out there. Again, you know, it's starting to look, you know, like you said, after 3 years, he really hasn't drained any of the swamp. And, you know, how about the QAnon stuff? I kind of was on the QAnon train for a while, but I'm going to be honest with you guys. This QAnon, okay, is looking like the same way Mueller is looking to the leftists. You know, QAnon is to the right what Mueller is to the left. And I think it's just a bunch of false hope. I don't see Mueller's prosecution being successful with Trump, and everything that QAnon has promised seems like I don't think it's a LARP, but it definitely is looking like fake. Yeah, QAnon has been proven to be a psyop. I don't know if it's been proven, but it definitely seems like that. If you have any proof, let us know. But, you know, I'm definitely, you know, I can, it certainly seems like that, Nano. Indeed. Derek McLean says, yeah, BMI is dumb. Kaboom to Roger Oliver. €2 in the super chat. Trump is the best president ever. And, you know, some of the stuff he's done is exciting. I like how he's, you know, pushed the line, and, you know, he's definitely changed the scene. But again, you know, so many have been supporting him, and it's been 3 years. Has he drained the swamp? Why are we sending money to Israel in this bill, and how come we can't use it? You know, why is he surrounded by all these dual agents, if you ask me? You know, both on the right and the left. You know, it's like I said, a significant amount of people in Congress have dual citizenship with Israel. I think, in my personal opinion, no one serving in Congress should have any dual citizenship and any loyalty to any other nation except America. You know, snipe them out the box. And Roger Oliver says no Muslims in Congress. You know, again, I believe in this the separation of church and state. So I won't go so far as to agree with you, but you know, I think that that woman that's, you know, coming out with her, I'm not sure if it's called a hijab or a kufi or whatever the headdress is. It seems to me like that person may be wanting to commingle the Islamic faith with her service on the Congress, and it's just not rubbing me the right way. Separation of church and state, I think that should be sniped out the box. So I partially agree with you, Roger. I wouldn't say no Muslims in Congress, but I would say no religious, no Muslim influence in Congress, I would say, because this country's founded on Christian values, and it's not against anything of the Islamic religion, because, you know, some may benefit from it, but I don't think it's at the core of what this country is about. It's something else. And that's good for another country. You know, everybody has their own thing, but I don't think it's good for this country. If you ask me my personal opinion, I may be wrong, but again, you know, Champagne is just speaking facts. Not facts, my personal opinion. Roger with the $2, €2. Thank you once again, Roger. Let me throw a couple dollar bills for you guys out there, especially for Roger Oliver, one of our boomers out there in Europe. I appreciate you, Roger. Guys, the super chat's open. If you'd like to follow the leader, Roger, drop a couple ducats here in the box. They all go to Baby Champagne's Formula Fund. Whey protein, indeed. Soy free. We don't want any soy gardeners in the box. Shout out to Bit Papa for the pun. Reagan was very good too, says Roger. You know, arguably he was all right, but listen, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't think that any of these politicians at the head of the pyramid are good guys. You got to lie, cheat, and steal to make it to these top rankings. So is any of them good? Probably not. Some are better than others. You know, some are better than others, but it is what it is. Derek says, yeah, no church and state, but Muslims can do whatever they want. Yeah, and I agree. You know, I'm all for people's freedom to practice whatever religion you want. I think that's good, but I don't like it being commingled into the Congress. You know, you don't have to show up in your religious garb to the Congress because, again, it's separation of church and state. Andrew Yang running for president. He wants to bring universal income to everybody, $1,000 a month. We'll see how that works. We'll see where that works. That whole universal income. I mean, it sounds great, right? Like free money, but that's how they get you guys, you know. Free. Well, you know, who's paying for it? There's no such thing as free. You know, who they taking that $1,000 from? And then, you know, here's the thing too. And this is something on some cultures that they don't accept gifts because, you know, all gifts have strings attached technically, you know. You start receiving $1,000 a month, you know, what are the strings attached to that? Okay, don't be getting freebies thinking that there's no strings attached. That's not how it works out there. There's always strings attached. So anything with universal basic income, I'm not believing in it, guys. It's not sustainable, if you ask me. D-Rock says counterproductive on the U.S. taxpayer. 8 years Obama, he helped Islamic countries. Now Trump giving money to Israel on a bill he wanted money for the wall. Cause working America to shut down over this BS. Yeah, it's definitely seeming that way. I'm disappointed. I'm going to be honest with this bill. I think that it's garbage, and there's a bunch of technicalities in the bill that, while I learned about them as on a cursory glance, didn't seem attractive. I'm gonna have to study a little bit more to find the details, but off the top, it certainly doesn't seem that good. Okay, it's a free country. She can wear what she wants. It's hurting nobody. I don't know about that, Derek. Like, you can't just wear whatever you want to the courtroom. Like, you want to go show up into the courtroom with a wife beater and you know, swimming trunks. That's not how it works. There's a certain level of respect and a certain standard culturally that we're trying to keep. You know, you'd probably be held in contempt if you showed up with sandals, shorts, and a wife beater to court. I mean, it is a free country, but, you know, is it? You know what I mean? Like, so no, I'm not with that. You know, I'm not with that. Again, I'm definitely for freedom of religion on their own personal time. Everybody on their own personal time, but not on the taxpayer's dime. No, that's I disagree with that. It's a Nano Joe with the $10. Kaboom! Here you go, champ. Buy yourself some Neo. Thank you, Nano. I appreciate it. $10 here in the population of the chat box by Nano, following the leader, Roger Oliver, on this stream. Dropping some ducats here. Thank you so much, Nano. I have a little bit of Neo, and I'm enjoying that Neo wallet, staking it, receiving a gas reward, and I like that. Who's that a picture of, says Max X. That's a picture of Thor, the world's strongest man. He won the world's strongest man competition last year. He's out of Iceland, and Jojo Way says Larry Wheels. No, this is actually Larry Wheels' coach now. Larry Wheels is on a, he's been staying in Iceland for the past like a couple months. If you follow him on YouTube, he's been posting all of his strongman workouts with Thor, the world's strongest man. So he won the competition World's Strongest Man last year. So as of late, he is the world's strongest man. Thor, half Thor Bjornsson now. And my understanding is that he appears in Game of Thrones as an actor. So that's who he is. I encourage you guys, if you want to get hype, if you want to see some motivation, they just posted a video, it was, I think yesterday or the day before, of Thor doing a deadlift of 1,060 or 1,040 pounds. And it was impressive. So, you know, check that out. I think it's on Larry Wheel's channel. Derek says, looks like HGH gut. Max says, well, this guy's huge. Yeah, this guy's weighing about 400 pounds, Max. You're looking at the world's strongest man, literally the world's strongest man. He's indeed, he's a big dude. Thanks again to Nano. I appreciate you, Nano. Thank you so much. Derek says, yeah, but she's wearing a head wrap. There's nothing disrespectful by wearing that or offensive. Well, you're assuming that I'm not offended because I am. You know, I don't, you know, I don't think that they should be mixing. Why don't you just show up like everybody else? It's like, it's showing me that, like, you know, you're trying to do your own. It's like you're trying to have your cake and eat it too. So, you know, keep that at home. You know, I'm not sure, you know, and, you know, if you follow the Islamic faith, then it doesn't really line up with the Constitution. They're at odds. So I don't see how you could pledge to both. And she made a pledge to the Constitution on oath. So is she following that pledge? I don't know. But, you know, again, I'm not going to debate, you know, keep debating it. I said what I said. I would like to see something else. Jojo says, Nano, you should change your name to Neo Joe. There you go. Shout out to Truce in the building, our crypto comedian. Shout out to Truth. Welcome here to the population, Truce. D-Rock says military members wear their headwear in uniform, but if you're a Rastafarian, you have to cut your dreads. You are scared to offend Muslim, and that's not addressed across the board. There you go, D-Rock. There you go. Listen, if you show up to the military, you make your pledge to the military, everybody shaves their head, even if they're Rasta or not. So why are we making exceptions? Because we don't want to, you know, offend Muslim people? I mean, like, come on, guys. Again, I want to make this clear. I am not against the Islamic faith. If people follow that on their own time, then, you know, that's fine for you. And I think that should remain. We shouldn't change that or outlaw that at all. This is a freedom of religion country, and people should be able to follow that. But when they're doing public service, they should follow a certain standard. Max X says the world's strongest man competitions are great. Oh yeah, Thor the Mountain. I've seen that guy before. Yeah, there he is, and it's very you know, he's hype right now. Like he's about to compete in the Arnold Classic in a few weeks, and I think he's trying to beat a world deadlift record. And again, if you're interested in powerlifting, and we've been following that type of stuff, you know, I'll tell you, on my off time, most of the time, what I'm checking out is like powerlifting. That's what I like to do on my time. You know, I watch Larry Wheels, I watch Thor, and I try to stay away from going to the conspiracy so much. Although I you know, that entertains me, and the politics does as well. But as I've said before, getting so much into the politics and the conspiracies, again, I don't see the productivity for the long run. I'm into building instead of destroying. You know, creation is what champs, you know, strength, creation, you know, positivity. So, you know, I'd rather watch, you know, exercise and stuff like that than to be always down and out and debating over Trump or the conspiracies and this, that, and the third. Although, I mean, I can't deny that, you know, I pay attention to that as well. Pepe says there's a theory why women cover up their hair and body was because the first fallen angels got attracted to the hair of the woman and had children with them, broke God's law, says Pepe. Yeah, I've heard that as well. And, you know, that's cool if people are following that. You know, that's totally their prerogative, their choice, freedom, you know, to choose right or wrong, whatever they decide. You know, I'm not here to get in their way of what they're doing at home. But, you know, if they're getting paid from the taxpayers, then they made an oath to the Constitution, and I think there's a different standard. D-Rock says half Thor Bjornsson on the vertical diet. Yeah, he's stronger and leaner since he started. I've recently started following Stan Efferding and his nutrition info. I'm glad that you brought that up again, D-Rock. I know you brought that up in our last broadcast earlier this morning. And we did a whole entire broadcast about the vertical diet, which is the diet that, like, again, that you're mentioning that half Thor follows. So you guys may want to check it out. Stan Efferding, he's another weightlifter, power lifter, and he promotes what's called the vertical diet. It seems like a lot of strength athletes, including the world's strongest man, follow the diet. And just to give you a summary, it's a simple diet, actually, and it's not crazy. It's, you know, these guys, they got to eat like thousands of calories. Some of them eat up to some of them eat up to like 10,000 calories a day. Mind you, this guy's 400 pounds. Most of the world's strongest men weigh over 300. And Larry Wheels, that is training now with Hafthor, and he wants to get into strongman. He's weighing 275 and he's feeling little. He's like, oh, I got to get over 300. So these guys got to eat a lot. And because of that, they need to eat food that is easily digestible. Okay, so that vertical diet seems to work. And that includes white rice, okay, for carbs instead of brown rice. And the reason is because white rice is, you digest it a lot easier. It has less fiber, so it passes through easier, as opposed to brown rice. We do know brown rice does have a little more fiber and maybe a little bit more nutrients, but they follow white rice on the vertical diet. And then they eat red meat, specifically sirloin, instead of just chicken, because that diet, the red meat has more micronutrients than chicken, okay? And they also eat sweet potatoes, spinach, yogurt, Greek yogurt specifically, carrots. What else is there? And to drink, I noticed that they're not drinking milk. Okay, I noticed they're not drinking milk. They are drinking a little bit of orange juice here and there, and I think that's the only thing they drink is orange juice and water. So it's just like eating a lot of red meat in the form of sirloin, white rice for the carbs, sweet potato for the carbs, a little bit of spinach for the micronutrients, a little bit of carrots for the micronutrients. Not too many other vegetables. I think the only other vegetables really are just spinach and carrots, and the sweet potatoes. But after that, they're not really, they're not eating broccoli or anything like that. And see if I'm missing anything in that diet. I think that's about it. It's just mainly like rice and meat. And that's what it is. Keep us updated there, D-Rock. Now, my intent is to start the vertical diet, and I kind of base everything around the vertical diet, but I haven't been that strict. But most people say that they get results. D-Rock says, well, that made me notice it was Stephanie Sanzo is on it. Showed my old lady and she's following. There you go. I'm glad that you checked her out. I check out her pages, and she is a female lifter out of Australia, and she's lifting heavy weight. And you can see that she still has an attractive body, in my opinion. And she doesn't look like too masculine. She looks still feminine. She follows the vertical diet, and I'll tell you, she lifts heavy weight. So for all the ladies out there that are reluctant of lifting weights because they feel like they may look like a man, I encourage you to check out Stephanie Sanzo. She's on it, indeed. Pepe says, I run after I lift. Okay, good for you. Cardio's great, but there is a trade-off. You do too much cardio, you may lose a little bit of your steam for your muscles. You see the world's strongest men, they necessarily don't do that much cardio. That's why they look a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Plump, maybe, than someone like a soccer player. So there's a trade-off. But yeah, I like running as well. I've been incorporating a little bit more cardio before my workout. So I'll do like 10, 15 minutes on the elliptical, not too hard, just to get my blood running, get the coffee through my system before I start my workout. Mark D, if you can't bench 300, you're a soy boy. Sorry, not sorry. Well, then, I must be a soy boy myself because I'm not benching 300 yet, but I'll get there. But I'll take that as a joke. That's a big number for a lot of people. That's almost 3 plates. 3 plates is 315. Most people are not benching 3 plates. I would say everybody should focus on that 2 plate first, that 225, and try to bang out at least 5. I'm almost about there. I almost got about 5 there on the 225, and that's like a good intermediate. And then once if you could bench 300, you're more on the advanced thing. But yeah, I got you, Mark D. Avocados is good. Yeah, I like avocados a lot, and I was eating a lot of avocados while I was on the ketogenic diet. But I'm not sure if it may be part of the vertical diet. Let me see. And I've shared a visual graphic before of all the foods that are included in the vertical diet. Yeah, let me share you guys here. We've been talking about the vertical diet here, so this is what it is. Stan Efferding's vertical diet. So it's the main ingredients here: steak, okay, and white rice. And then for the micronutrients, you're looking at sweet potatoes, oranges, cranberry juice, eggs, chicken stock, carrots, yogurt, Greek yogurt, pink Himalayan salt, for the seasoning or whatnot, and then you got spinach and red pepper. So this is the entire diet. This is all the strongman guy Thor's eating, according to what I understand out there. So if you guys want to follow it, basically I use this as the core of what I'm eating. I try to like always have something here. I would like to get a little bit more disciplined or militant and follow this to a T. I'm not doing it, just to be honest with you. You know, I still eat a little other foods or whatnot, but you know, this seems like the main ingredients to gas you up and provide that power that you need to lift those heavy weights. So there is no avocados in this. Although I have nothing bad to say about avocados, they have a lot of nutrients and a lot of healthy fats, but it's just not included in this particular vertical diet. Champ, would you be offended if that girl was a nun and wore their headscarf? You're still on that. Yeah, I think that, yeah, you know, a nun makes her pledge to the Lord, and they do what they do. And like, I don't see how you could be pledging your oath to both. So yeah, I would hold a nun into the same standards. Absolutely, Derek. Queen says, damn, I think I've been on the vertical diet my whole life except for the yogurt part. And let me tell you, this yogurt, this Fagi or Fagi or however you pronounce it, this Greek yogurt, I'm eating it daily. And I'll tell you that it's great for the digestion, good probiotics, and has some good protein too, guys. So, you know, don't sleep on this yogurt. It's pretty healthy, and I enjoy it. I've been eating a lot of this yogurt. And so does Baby Champ, actually. Baby Champ really likes the yogurt as well. D-Rock says he has a food map. He removes a lot of food from meals. He's big on grass-fed beef and bison. He's totally against soy-fed chicken and tilapia. I'm still reading into it. We might try it. Yeah, definitely. It seems like a solid diet because, you know, it has good foods, and it's not like all memed out or anything like that. It's just solid foods. I mean, like, you can't really, I don't see any, like, how could you argue against these foods? They seem pretty solid, you know. You could definitely be strong eating these types of foods. Max says probably there's no avocados because they produce gas. Maybe. And again, this particular diet is so that you can eat a lot, like a lot of calories, and still have good digestion. You know, you can, you know, bang out a bunch of McDonald's, but, you know, it's probably not good for your digestion. Or you could start drinking a lot of milk, but, you know, you drink too much milk and it could give you some indigestion. Two plates was good in jail, 225, 300 crypto gorilla. Yeah, I would love to get there. You know, I'm just trying to master the 2 plates, which I'm basically there. And then I'll move up from there. But, you know, I wouldn't, I know Mark D's probably holding the standard a little higher than most. If you want to compare yourself to others with the lifts and see how you stack up, I encourage you to check out that website, Symmetric Strength, where you can enter your 1 rep maxes and then your age and your weight, and then it kind of compares you and it shows you where you stand against other people in that category. And, you know, if you're benching 225 for at least 5, you're already somewhat of an intermediate. And if you're doing 300, you're definitely closer to the advanced category. So shout out to Mark. It's time to start injecting Baby Chang with roid start early. Nah, never that, Mark. I'm trying, I mean, I'm not against, you know, those that choose to go with the PEDs, the performance enhancing drugs. Me personally, I'm just trying to be the best natural version that I can before I would ever consider, you know, doing something like that. But again, you know, for those athletes that are trying to get that edge, and some people that may base their entire career, like this guy Thor, for instance, I mean, he wouldn't be able to be though in that level of competition if he wasn't taking some tren or something, I assume. And Larry Wheels, his student, I mean, he is not shy about admitting that he's used PEDs, and that I'm not sure if he continues to, but he obviously probably is. But, you know, he doesn't deny it. So, you know, I'm not one of those that are like, oh, only natty, and like those that are PED are bad or anything like that. I just feel like if you're going to go on, you know, on roids, you know, it's something that you got to make a solid decision. That's like, you know, you shouldn't just do it for fun. You know, it's like if you're already competing and you're like trying to get to a level, I'm not on that level right now. You know, I'm just trying to hit 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't need to do that. And neither does little baby champ. We got him on the whey protein, So the formula he drinks has whey protein in it. So that's what's going on. Pepe says, if your breathing is not good or off rhythm when lifting, it causes pyruvate to ferment. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Pyruvate to ferment due to oxygen not being present, causing lactic acid build in muscles. And you make a point. I don't know exactly what pyruvate, or I don't know how to pronounce that, but you're talking about having a good breathing during exercises. And I agree with that, especially when you're doing squats and deadlifts. You got to really know how to control your breath. So yeah, if you guys haven't really looked into like the proper breathing techniques while you lift, it's something that you may want to look into. Pepe says, check out bone breathing. Okay, I'd never heard of that term, but I'll check it out. Nano says, I love salmon, white rice, and avocados. So delicious. Yeah, I like that too. Salmon's great, has good healthy fats. Got nothing against salmon. Looks good. And the thing is with salmon, though, a lot of the salmon out there is farm raised. I'm not particularly attracted to like farm raised fish like tilapia and salmon. But if you can get some good wild Alaskan salmon, that's definitely good. Rice, avocados, awesome. I'm with you. I like the Greek yogurt also. It has a lot more protein, saturating fats, and much less carbs than your regular yogurt, says D-Rock. Absolutely. I don't eat regular yogurt. That Greek yogurt is great, especially that brand, the Fagi or whatever it's called. And it has good protein. You're looking at least like for a little small container, you're looking anywhere from like, maybe like 13 grams to 20 grams of protein. So it's a good snack. And, you know, I've been trying to follow this. This is, you know, eating 1 gram of protein for every pound that you weigh. It's like a rule of thumb that most bodybuilders and lifters use, you know. Let's say you weigh, I don't know, 200 pounds or 150 pounds or whatever you weigh, you should be eating that same amount in grams of protein every single day. So it's a little difficult, but when you snack on things that are higher in protein like Greek yogurt and you eat good meats, you should be able to reach that goal. Queen says, yeah, champ, that's what I'm saying. 3 plates or even benching 300 is a crypto gorilla. Everybody in jail, their goal was to 225. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's basically my goal. I mean, I got to 225, but I'm trying to, like, you know, always be able to do 5 reps. You know, I'm not, you know, I think my top is maybe like 4. Maybe I've pushed out 5, but I want to get to the point that no matter what, when I sit down, I can always do at least 5 on 225. That's my personal goal right now. So, yeah, you know, it seems like those people in jail's goal is the same. You know, 300, that's already like close to 3 plates. That's already, yeah, definitely a gorilla, indeed. And maybe I'll set that goal after I master my first goal. Derek says they have the world's smallest genitals after all them PEDs. Have fun pleasing a girl. So they say. You know, I don't know. I think I don't have any direct evidence. I mean, I haven't been on PEDs like that, so that I can't report whether that's true or not. I've certainly heard that, but is that coming from people that are hating, or is that a statement of facts? We don't know. You know, I don't. So maybe some people can enlighten me. But, you know, I just don't all of a sudden, just because that's what most people say, it's kind of like the cliche thing to say. But is it really true? I don't know. Or could it be the opposite? You're pumping up with so much testosterone that could you grow? And could you even go longer? I don't know, you know. Mark D says, just joking about the roids, I would never touch them. Okay, you know, and I'm not saying that I would or wouldn't. I mean, like I said, you know, if I was in Thor's position, or, you know, I would definitely consider it. And if I have reached all my goals and I still wanted to go further, and that's what you want to do, then, I mean, you know, everybody has the right to do what they want with their body. You know, that's something that's between yourself and the big man upstairs. You know, I'm not here to tell you what to do or not to do on your own time. If you want to wear the kufi on your own time, do it. But, you know, not on my time. The Wilks calculator, good to gauge your strength based on age and weight. BMA charts are broken. Wilks is my measuring tape. Yeah, the Wilks is what most power lifters use, the Wilks score. And I think that that site that I recommended, Symmetric Strength, you guys may want to check that out. I think it does give you a Wilks score, but it definitely returns results in the form of a spreadsheet that, you know, you could see what all the lifts around your age and height and weight is, so you can compare yourself to others. And you see whether you're a beginner, novice, intermediate, advanced, athletic, or, you know, professional. It's all there. A person who took them said his genitals shrunk 100%, says Derek. I think it's medically proven. You think, but you don't know. Again, that's the key word. You think, but we don't know. We want to deal with facts. Although it certainly seems like it could be true. I'm not saying it's not, Derek, but you know, we're trying to separate the facts from the fictions and what could be, you know, just a meme from a reality. So I don't know. I mean, just because one person says it, you know, that's too small of a sample. If you follow statistic, your N should be, you know, a lot higher than 100, right? Like your N, your sample size should be 1,000 plus. D-Rock says, yeah, the site does champ. So yes, D-Rock is reporting that symmetric strength does give you a Wilks score. So if you guys are interested with that. Pepe says, want to get wild Alaskan salmon, any wild caught salmon, make sure the color on the fish is dark, red, pink color, not the light, bright color, reason being is high protein. Yeah, I've heard that as well, and that I've heard the same kind of standard being applied to eggs until I saw a video with a farmer that said that you could feed animals a certain thing that will change the egg color, or maybe that applies to salmon as well. Maybe they can feed them something that makes them look more bright color pink. So I don't know if that's true or not, but it certainly seems like it could be, Pepe. D-Rock says, yes, the site does. We read that. Queen says, as long as I can throw up 225 at least 3 times, I'm happy. At my max, I was able to do 10 times, 3 sets, ABD last set with a spot. There you go. Yeah, I'm like I said, my goal personally is 5 times every single time. Yeah, I've pretty much got like at least 3 in the tank all the time, but I just want to feel confident with 5 all the time. Again, if you guys haven't been following my personal lifting goals, I call it the 1, 2, 3, 4, which are intermediate goals. They're not, you know, professional athlete goals or anything. It's 1 plate overhead, and what I mean by a plate is the 45-pound plate for those that are lifting in kilograms, so you know what I mean. So 1 plate overhead for overhead press for 5, 2 plates for bench press for 5, 3 plates for squat for 5, and then 4 plates on the deadlift for 5. Queen's races, as long as I read that, but I was using a lot of creatine also. It works, but your muscles don't look so ripped. You know, I bought some creatine a few months back, and then I tasted it and I didn't like it. But my understanding is that creatine is legit. That, you know, I've looked into it briefly, and the data that I've gathered leads me to believe it's legit. Pepe says, as soon as blood stops flowing in muscle of the red meat, it starts oxidation process, depleting the protein in the meat. Yeah, that makes sense. Derek says, yeah, champ, it's a fact. It shrinks them, decreases sperm count too. I've heard that. I've heard that. You know, I would just like, I've never seen any direct studies, nor have I had anybody provide me direct anecdotal evidence. So, you know, I'm always a little skeptical, but, you know, if I had a bet on it, Derek, you know, just, you know, with the information that I have, I would say that you're probably right. D-Rock says wild line caught fish is where it is. Farm raised fish is fed soy. Apparently, a lot of chicken is raised similar. Yeah, that's what I've heard as well. You know, in any instance, if you can get an animal in their natural environment, grass-fed, pasture-raised beef, or if you can just go to the ocean and just fish it right off the ocean and, you know, eat it in the state that it should be in, the less processed and the less soy and the less intermediaries involved between you and that food directly with nature should be avoided. It's the voice of the blockchain here. This is an open discussion, diet, exercise, politics, and more. We do this every Friday, and we've talked about everything from no fap to the vertical diet to powerlifting to politics, conspiracies, and more. Ancillary to crypto, there's an alternative frequency going on, and it's brought the crypto brothers together, and we discuss all the topics that may overlap here, and find ways to become stronger men and better boomers out there. Shout out to D-Rock, Derek, Pepe, Queens, Mark D, and the rest of the kaboomers out there in the population of the chat box. You guys really lifted my spirits today in the first broadcast. People showing love after Champagne lost his canine yesterday, unfortunately. And, you know, I'm kind of down today, guys. So I'm going to be honest with you. The little canine has been rocking with me for every single live stream. And it's unfortunately we lost him yesterday. But the brothers came in and they raised my spirits. And I appreciate you maniacs. And I say this all the time, but I'll continue to say I never expected I'll be leading you guys to crypto victory. You guys show up here to bat. And it's not because of me personally. It's because of the good crypto word and these ideas and these discussions that we have. And it shows me that, you know, it's legit out here. You guys are legit. I appreciate it. Is that you, Champagne? Says K Archie. No, that's not me, Archie. That's not me. That's it's actually the world's strongest man, Thor out of Iceland. He's actually an actor as well. I think he appears on the Game of Thrones. You may want to check him out. But yeah, he's literally the world's strongest man. He won last year's competition, world's strongest man. He weighs about 400 pounds. The guy's a giant, a Viking out there. U.S. birth rate 1.74. We need 2.01 to sustain. We will need many immigrants coming in. Either that or people should get off birth control and start having more children that are already here in the United States. But, you know, they pass out condoms and birth control in school. And, you know, on the top, it seems like a good thing, but is it really? Steven Rinella is a hunter and founder of Meat Eater show on Netflix. He killed the bear and the meat was purple colored due to the diet consists of blueberries. Same with grass-fed steaks have the yellow color. Okay, that's cool. I may want to check that out. I think that if you guys eat a lot of meat, eventually, if you haven't, you know, you need to kill an animal, slay him, and cook it yourself because, you know, if you're going to be taking life and eating the meat, then you should not be a coward and see what it really takes and, you know, the sacrifice that is made to eat the meat out there. So, you know, that's why, you know, I'm not particularly fond of the meat eating, the meat industry, the industrial farming. And that's why I try to stay with the pasture raised and stuff. And you can't always be on point with everything. We can't be perfect. We're just humans out here, but you got to be conscious. You got to know, you know, what you got yourself into. That's why they say grace before all the meals, because, you know, the sacrifice the animal made or what you had to do to hunt it or whatnot. So you got to show respect to your food out there, guys. D-Rock says, any other than Champ Follow the Rhino, I'd like to get feedback from anyone that's tried vertical diet. So if anybody else has tried the vertical diet, I would say, D-Rock, I haven't necessarily tried the vertical diet, although I've been sticking to mostly the vertical diet. But in order for me to say, yeah, I've tried the diet, I would like to have only eaten the vertical diet for maybe at least, you know, 2 to 4 weeks. I mean, I guess 4 weeks at least, you know. So maybe I'll experiment with that. I just kind of been sleeping, I'll be honest with you. But if anybody else has followed it to a T, let me know. And D-Rock's considering it. And if you do it, let me know how it impacts you. Champ, I went to high school with a guy who was taking creatine. He developed testicular cancer. Okay. Okay. The question is that if that was directly correlated to the creatine, or maybe he had something else that impacted that. I've also heard that creatine could lead to balding. So I don't know if that's true or not, but I've heard that as well. So again, I don't take creatine. I heard it works, but I just don't. I'm not taking anything. I'll drink whey protein. I'll be honest with you guys. I've been drinking the gold standard for some time. I was doing the keto protein that I have linked down below from Perfect Keto, which is great too. I was following a ketogenic diet and have nothing bad to say about that. You know, I shredded the fat, made me feel great. I got to the good target weight, but after a while, I plateaued with the lifts, and then I felt like it was time to start taking in some carbs, and it's been good. Lately, Champ, I enjoy mid-weight workouts, slightly heavy, but not too heavy. Sorry, but I saw so many YouTube videos of people hurting themselves with heavy weight, so always with a spot. Yeah, I'm not mad at you. I'm following something called Mad Cow right now, which is the intermediate program for Strong Lifts 5x5. And what it does is it has one heavy day, one real heavy day on Mondays, then you go kind of basically lighter on Wednesday, and then you go back heavy on Friday, but not as many reps, so you do a little bit less. So, you know, you're not always going heavy. And then with Strong Lifts 5x5, the program that I started with in the summer, the one I have linked down below, it starts you at a really low weight. Some people may even just start with the bar, and then you gradually add 2.5 pounds, 5 pounds every time you come back. So by the time you get heavy, you should have already mastered your form, and, you know, you wouldn't increase the weight before you can successfully perform 5 reps with the weight before you increase it. So let's say if you're doing, I don't know, 135 pound squat, you shouldn't increase that weight before you did 5 sets of 5 with 135. So then maybe after you did 5 sets of 5 with 135, you go up to 140 or 145. So it's not a crazy jump. And then you try to master that weight. So I would encourage you, you know, working out heavy is great, but you got to progress to the heaviness. And that's why I like the Strong Lifts and the Mad Cow, because it tracks you and you don't add weight until you mastered the weight before that. Women are choosing to have less kids today, and others say they can't afford it due to high cost of living, student loan debt. Yeah, that could be true as well. But you know, there is a agenda to have certain demographics produce less children and other demographics produce more, so that they can so certain politicians can get more votes. You know, it's a lot easier to say, oh, we're for immigrants, flood them all in, and then they end up voting for the politicians. And that's what it is. I mean, it's been happening since the days of gangs of New York. I was reading about Tammany Hall out there in Manhattan, and they were supporting the Irish immigrants out there. You know, there's, you know, politicians on the left has always tried to cater to the least common denominator so they can get more people. And so they encourage those people to reproduce, while their opposition and people that may be more responsible not vote for them, they'll support plans that perhaps maybe don't encourage them to reproduce, like passing out condoms and abortions, and birth control stuff like that. Champ, that wild Alaskan salmon's like 20 pounds a pound in Queens. Yeah, it's expensive out there. So you may want to look into like sirloin steak instead. You know, you can still get good micronutrients, and perhaps it's less than $20 a pound. It should be. It should be. I know the food prices out there in New York are a lot higher than most places out there, Queens. And that's the thing with living in larger cities out there that are somewhat socialized. You end up paying a lot higher taxes, and everything ends up being more expensive for you because, you know, low key, you're subsidizing all the cheap labor out there, you know, especially a place like Queens, which has one of the highest immigrant populations in the entire United States. You know, if it weren't for social programs in New York City, would you have so many people there trying to claim them? You know, it's almost in a way what keeps the city running. It's cheap labor. It's a whole nother stream and a whole nother thing. But a lot of people are getting taken advantage of. And at the end of the day, you got to pay $20 a pound for Alaskan salmon. That kind of sucks. Joseph says, do you get quality foods from vertical farming? I would suppose so. I don't know much about vertical farming, so I can't give you a direct answer to that, but we're talking about the vertical diet, and it doesn't have anything to do with vertical farming. But if you want to know what it is, these are the foods: steak, white rice, sweet potatoes, oranges, cranberries, eggs, chicken stock, carrots, Greek yogurt, pink Himalayan salt, spinach, and red peppers. Continue to pray, champ. You know God's love can fill any void. Yeah, I am, Queens. I'll tell you that much. I am. And I appreciate that you encouraging me to do that. I encourage everybody to do that. You know, I'll tell you guys, these days, and you know, champ's faith in the Lord has increased. We got to stay. I mean, this world's fallen, guys. This is, you know, everything out there, you know, it's mostly corrupted. This world's not perfect. So you got to look to a higher power, in my opinion. I'm not here to, you know, try to change your mind and everything. I'm just telling you what works for me. D-Rock says, we're making plans once we exhaust all our foods first. Definitely want to get my measurements, body fat, and overall strength before we start. There you go. There we go. Yeah, but yeah, you know, I encourage you too. And you know, eating good is you know, you got to fuel those lifts. If you want to like keep increasing your lift, you got to eat the right foods. You know, you want to lift big, you got to eat big, and you got to eat good. Derek says, and I noticed, champ, more of the kids my age, 20 to 25, who had kids at the age were more poor or less educated. Yeah, and the poorer you are and the less educated you are, the more subservient you are to socialist systems, and the more you need a handout. Basically, you know, the easier it is to make you slave-like. You know, that's what it is, guys. And that's arguably by design there, Derek. The more people become intellectual and high IQ tend to have less kids. There's a scientific study in Sweden. So if we manage to achieve anti-aging and live 200 years, we will reproduce less. Yeah, I mean, you know, those are, you know, out of Sweden, which is, you know, I don't know what their system is, but, you know, a lot of those countries and a lot of these studies in universities, they also have a globalist communist agenda. Again, that's going back to the Frankfurt School and critical theory. And I've been mentioning that in briefly in a lot of these broadcasts, but a lot of the ideologies that are being pumped out of the major universities that they tout themselves as high intellectual and high IQ, they, at the core of them, they're trying to promote a cultural Marxist ideology. Not everything's about IQ, you know, not everything's about IQ, and not everything. So there's people that are super highly intellectual, but they don't even know how to farm. They've never even slayed an animal before. So if the lights shut off, what, you know, all those books, I mean, you know, yeah, you know about history, you got a high IQ, but, you know, what's also important is emotional intelligence and spiritual intelligence as well. And I think that IQ doesn't really necessarily measure that correctly. So, you know, you got to be skeptical sometimes. But yeah, you are right, though. To a certain extent, you know, people with higher IQs tend to have less kids. Yes. K. Archie says, "Let me find out champ is woke, y'all." Woo woo. Yeah, indeed, indeed. We're, you know, we're trying to spread that good word and find out ways to become better men and women out here. We have a couple crypto chicks in the box, and we welcome them as well. Although the majority of people here in the box, I would say over 90% are men out here. So that's who we're speaking to. But we always encourage the ladies to jump in, and they're welcome here as well. So shout out to Archie. Let me throw a bomb for you out there, Archie. Creatine is a supplement. A supplement addresses deficiencies with your diet. Creatine helps water load and hydrate muscles. Most people that try it get results because they're deficient on sodium. Okay. That's interesting to know. Derek says, but at this rate, if people don't want kids as much, I think importing a lot of immigrants from places like Mexico, Central America, and the Caribbean will be the only options. It's not the only options. You know, it's good to have a family. It's good to grow your own flock. You know, why do we need to, you know, let Mexico have the Mexicans and Central America have Central America, the Caribbeans be in the Caribbean. We should produce more of our own. You know, I have nothing wrong with Mexico and Central America, but we don't need to bring them over here. We need to handle our own thing. You know, like if people don't want kids as much and we're suffering from that, then maybe we're making the wrong decision by not wanting more kids. Maybe we're falling for a meme. Maybe having kids is a good thing, guys. And I'm here to say, I'm going to be honest with you guys. The meaning of life is to have a family. Period. It's not to have happiness or nothing. It's the first meaning is to have a family and have a good relationship with the big man up above. And that's my personal opinion. And I'll stand by that. Joseph says, I haven't recently seen a lot of videos where they plant veggies inside skyscrapers and the gardening of soil less, but they put the roots of plants inside a watery substance with nutrients for plants to grow. Oh yeah. Yeah. I've seen that. And I think in, believe it or not, I think in Disney World, they have like vertical farming. And I think most of the vegetables in Disney World are vertically farmed hydroponically like that. So yeah, I think it does work. Joseph, thanks for mentioning that. Pepe says multiculturalism clash cause violence and miscommunication. That's not really a good idea. Bringing immigrants at a high rate doing more harm than good. Exactly. Multiculturalism sounds great. You know, it's kumbaya. But it causes violence and miscommunication. Absolutely. Yes, I do agree. And then at the end of the day, you're not preserving any of your own culture. You know, you keep mixing things. You're not going to have anything that's necessarily condensed anymore. Like if you have pure water or your certain type of water and you say, oh, I want like to mix it with lemonade, soda, this, it's like, you know, at what point you keep mixing it, it's not going to be the same anymore. It may be good for you, but it's not the same anymore. So, you know, I'm not so into multiculturalism. I think people should preserve their own culture. You know, everybody has the right to preserve their own culture, their language and stuff like that. I mean, multiculturalism seems like watering down the pot. It seems like you're watering it down, making it less potent. Joseph says, I wonder if that can solve the problem of having to transport veggies from distant farms into the city. Maybe, but I'll tell you this much, Joseph. I mean, most people have a lawn or there's a lot of empty plots of land, and there's just a bunch of landscape plants. They don't produce any food. But if, you know, people stop, you know, instead of having a lawn, if they had a garden, you know, most people could just grow a little bit of food for themselves, and that would solve a lot more problems than, you know, having vertical farms that are corporate or whatnot. Like if everybody grew a little bit on their own, you know, that would solve a lot of problems. But, you know, instead they'll give you a plot of land, tell you to, you know, plant a lawn with sod or whatnot. Now you got to pay to cut that all the time, and it doesn't produce any crop for you. So there's no ROI. You know, you should be getting something out of the land. And I told you guys, everybody should plant a little bit. You know, I don't want too many soy gardeners out there, but, you know, get a little sweet potato, get a little oregano, basil, get a little fruits out there, you know, berries or whatever it is. I like that. Queen says, champ, 1 pound of Alaskan salmon is 500 Cardanos. I like that. I like that. $20. Pepe says, Queens, try getting some omega-3 supplements. Mexico doing some vertical farming on new projects in the city to fight air pollution. That's cool too. Yeah. That's a whole nother thing, you know, fighting air pollution with the good plants out there. Thanks for reminding us about that. Derek, Queen says, champ, preaching good today. God gave you a good platform for a reason. Thank you, Queens. I know that you're a believer. I can feel that from you, and I appreciate that. Shout out to you. Derek says, yes, but at this rate, we will have no choice. You're saying people should have families, and I agree, but the fact is people don't want that. Okay, and if people don't want to choose life and, you know, if at what cost? I mean, that's the cost that they end up losing. You know, the cost is that you end up watering down things, and then politicians start importing people here, and before you know it, you've lost your culture because you didn't want children. So at the end of the day, you're going against the grain because you're only worrying about yourself, because this generation did just have so much of an ego. It's about what they could do for themselves. They're not thinking of their family, their future, their culture, their heritage. It's all about what they want to do. And I ask you, Derek, where did you learn that type of thinking, and why? You know, at the end of the day, we need to each one teach one in the box here, and let them know that, you know, only worrying about what you want is the wrong way. Before you know it, that's going to mess you up. It's the wrong way to think, and it comes at a cost. I'm not a fan of supplements, says D-Rock. We get crappy foods, cheap. Then we buy supplements and meds to fix our deficiency. FDA is a joke, and all these snake oils are worse. I would tend to agree with you, D-Rock. I do believe that if you're eating a good diet and good food, then you shouldn't have to have any supplements. And my understanding is, you know, these guys, they don't really talk too much about supplements like these power lifters. I know that they take like pre-workout and stuff like that. But, you know, this vertical diet doesn't really talk about any supplements. It's just like whole food. So it is what it is. Also, why bring a kid into the world if you can't afford to take care of it? Yeah, that's, you know, when they try to profess fear to you and make you believe that you can't afford it. But listen, the Lord provides. The Lord provides. If you have the right mind state, and if you have the belief out there. It's like, you know, why even put a price tag on a kid? We can all afford to take care of our one another if we're all thinking the right way, and we're being disciplined and living life how it needs to be. But when you're worrying about yourself, and you're worrying about, you know, whether you can afford this, and if you're only worrying about money and happiness, of course, that type of mentality is not gonna allow you to build a long-term community. It's like, that's the type of mentality that you feed to people when you want to control them and corrupt them. Amen, says Queens. Shout out to you, Queens. The problem is big agricultural corporations buying all the small local farmers off and buying a ton of land. We need the local farmers back. I indeed agree with that, Pepe El Toro. We need a little bit more local farming, you know, a little bit. I'm not saying, you know, we got to, you know, all get cows and, you know, become farmers out there. But, you know, think about it. If everybody had a little bit of food on their own, it's about self-sustainability, guys. I think that's why we all got into crypto. It's because we don't want another man or an intermediary party. We don't want to depend on the bank. You know, you want to hold your own private keys. You want to grow your own food. And you want to depend on yourself and the big man upstairs instead of a socialist system that's going to give you $1,000 a month at a cost. We learned it because our generation doesn't mind mixing with other cultures, and most people want to enjoy life regardless if they have a kid or not. Exactly. It's critical theory in the Frankfurt School. It's cultural Marxism that's low-key being disseminated to you, and it sounds great. We're going to do a whole stream about that, Derek, and because the universities are plagued with it. And if you want to do your own research on your own, I point you in that direction. The Frankfurt School and critical theory and cultural Marxism, if you want to learn a little bit more. We're going to do a stream about that sooner than later. But, you know, that is the pitch. That's the scam right there, where, you know, mixing with other cultures, you know, having sex with everyone, having orgies, eating whatever you can, being happy, being in control of your own destiny, following the secret. All these things are lies, guys. They're lies. They sound good, but at the ending, they come at a cost. A lot of the Asians in Queens usually grow plants in their backyard, but lately the Department of Buildings have been giving them fines because supposedly they're not allowed to have gardens behind the house. Exactly. They want you to be dependent on them. They don't even want you growing your own food out there, guys. And you know, and watch out. The next one that's coming out, I think I saw one of the politicians, I think it was Cory Booker, that they're trying to increase the cost of meat because, you know, he's trying to pull a political agenda out there. They don't even want you eating meat no more. They want to increase the cost. They want you eating soy and being a good little boy and following what they have fed to you, so that you end up being subservient to the system. That's the bottom line, guys. I do want family, though, but it's hard to a massive student loan debt. And student loan debt is part of the meme too, Derek. It's the thing is like a lot of these, it goes back to everything comes at a cost. So if you end up taking that student loan debt, believing that going to university is going to make you, like, you fell for the meme, you accepted it. You see what I'm saying? And now you hold that debt at a cost. There's a cost for everything. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm getting this free money to go to school. What they don't know, it comes with strings attached. Everything comes with strings attached, especially when it comes from the state out there. So whatever you can to not get a loan, to not get a handout, and to do it on your own, then go that route, because it comes with a cost out there. And look what the cost is now. It's harder for you to have a family. You think that's by design, Derek. You've already, and so many of us too. I mean, like, the majority of people have a student loan debt. So, you know, that is one of the main ways that they make you a slave. It's like, oh, go to school, this and this and that. And they feed you more debt, more debt, more debt. And now you can't claim that in bankruptcy. Now you're forced to be a little wage slave and pay more taxes. And now, you know, you're falling right into their trap. Joseph says, we need to make babies. When you old people tend to care less about you, at least have your children look after you. There you go, Joseph. We need to make more babies. But they want to tell you the world is overpopulated. Okay? They want to tell you to take birth control. They want to tell you to have more sex and use more condoms. So not to have a children. You know, they want you to have orgies and threesomes out there because they want to make sex about pleasure and about yourself instead of about raising family and having responsibilities. But that's what it is. People don't want to hear the truth out there, guys. And Champagne's here to give it to you 1,000. At least from the way I see it, you know, like, I know a lot of these things that I talk about are based on faith, and I understand that, and there's not scientific evidence, but I'm sharing my anecdotal evidence and what I believe is truth. The U.S. culture changes every 10 years. The next generation creates a new ethos. My old lady is part of the first generation in America. Traditions are lost when people move to new worlds, adapt, or get out the way. That's what it is. But some traditions should be kept, you know. But we do got to adapt, and we also got to adapt to the negativity and the attack, the social, cultural war that's going on. And we need to do streams like this, talk about it, and each one teach one, be enlightened, be aware, be woke, like Archie says, and understand that, you know, the powers that be, they want you to be subservient to them. They don't want you to be freedom. They don't want freedom they don't want you to claim your freedom and independence. Because again, you know, who else is going to be giving them tax money and letting them live at the top of the pyramid? You know, they need people working for them. You can grow herbs and nobody will know oregano and basil, thyme look like shrubs. Yeah, I grow oregano and basil. Basil grows really easy, and so does oregano. You could just clip a little piece off, throw it in the dirt, and most of the time it grows. I agree, Archie. 1 hour on this live stream. I'm enjoying this one. We'll take a few more comments and questions before we wind it down, but this one's a good one. This one's a good one. Open discussion, diet, exercise, politics, and more. We do this every Friday. I've stated my intent to do a second one of these during the week. I'm trying to find some time. I'm just trying to juggle so many things at once. But sooner than later, we'll find some time. I've also have an intent to like maybe do some streams when I take the camera outside. I know I took the camera out to the beach sometimes and started talking to people on the streets about crypto and stuff like that. It's been a while since I whipped out the camera at you. So, you know I got to flip it on you eventually. If you guys got suggestions, I'm always open to listening. Champ, do you like to travel? Yeah, I do. I love traveling. I think traveling is a way to gain more knowledge. At CES, I saw a burger patty that's meatless but looked like meat. I'm so puzzled. Yeah, there's some fake meat out there, and some of it may taste okay. You know, I'm not against the fake meat if it's created from things that are other than soy. Some are made like the vegetarian patties, and they taste okay. I'm not entirely against the fruits and vegetables, guys. But you know, he who eateth herbs is weak. It's mostly like herbs and vegetables are more arguably medicine than they are food, but they have benefits. But at the core, what you should be eating, in my personal opinion, is some steak. Be honest with you, some good protein. If you don't eat steaks, maybe you can eat some good fish or whatnot, or chicken or whatnot. But you need some meat out there, in my opinion. How do you make meat out of a plant if not the natural way of cutting from an animal? You're not making meat. It's just a knockoff. It's just it's just they're making it taste like meat, but it's not meat. How could you expect people to have a family when it's just financially too hard? Well, I mean, that's, if it's too hard, then just give up, If it's too hard, then you just give up. It's never too hard out there. If you have faith and you have knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, it's never too hard. It's never too hard. Look at the U.S. and what it's done in the past with refugees. They enter and their whole life is different now. The adults hold on, but children intermingle at school and learn different ways to life. And some things is good. I'm not saying, intermingling with other societies is not good, and sharing cultures is not good. In some instances is good. Nothing in its absolute, guys. I'm just saying in general, there's certain things that we should be preserving, and we should preserve the good, But when it comes to like dealing with other cultures and stuff, like Jojo just asked me, you like to travel? Of course, learn about other things, But just because you travel to, to China and you lived in China for a year or two doesn't make you Chinese. They got their own thing. And the same thing goes for the U.S. Just because you're an outsider, you travel here to the United States and you live here for a few years, it necessarily don't mean that you are American. Okay, so that's what it is. Does ox heels make you stronger when cooked well and consumed, or what's the gluish substance you get from ox heels? I can't answer that question, Joseph. I'm not really eating a lot of ox heels, so I don't know. I'm going to be honest. Champagne always keeps it 1,000. If I don't know, I tell you, I don't know. Queen says, all the people that I've met in my life that have went to school, or even younger generations, all have a student loan debt. You're not the only one. No, you're not, Derek. You're not the only one. You're not the only one. You know, it's never too late though. You know, you got to find ways to move around the system, and you know, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. That's the beginning. You know, and you figure out, right. You know that the system is made for you to herd you in a certain direction, because right now everybody's being treated like a herd of sheep. You know, and the student loans and the propaganda and the things they teach you in universities, it's to herd the sheep in a certain direction that benefits those at the top of the pyramid structure. Okay. A lot of those that control in governments, they follow the Hermetic principles or the Talmud and the all-seeing eye. And they're at the top of the pyramid. They see themselves, and everyone below them is subservient. So once you understand the hidden symbolisms, and you understand, like I said, when you start getting more knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, at least you know, okay? And then you can navigate a little bit better. If you're a fish and you didn't know that there was fishermen out there, then you wouldn't be on the lookout for bait with hooks. But if you learned about it, then you'd be a little bit more weary before you just take the bait, okay? Remember, a lot of these things that are offered by the government is just bait, but behind it there's a hook. And a student loan is one of them. It's a bait. The bait is you're going to learn more. Everybody should go to university. It's going to make you up to par with everything. But behind it there's a hook, and that's the debt. And it's just not how it used to be. The entire school system keeps getting more and more expensive. And I feel for those that are deep into student debt. I mean, I'll tell you, for those new ones, the new gunners that are considering it, I would seriously consider not getting into debt and finding ways to learn and get paid for learning. There's even, blue collar jobs now that they'll pay you. Like, let's say if you want to be a air conditioning tech or learn how to weld or stuff like that, they'll pay you instead of putting you into debt so that you can learn a skill and start making money. But the thing is that the society has, through propaganda, made us feel like blue collar jobs are less than desirable, and they rather have you working at a bank, doing customer service or stuff like that. They don't even want to teach you how to work with your hands out there. But again, why? Because if you don't know how to work with your hands, or you don't know how to do things on your own, you need Big Daddy even more. And that empowers the top of the pyramid structure, not the bottom. Yeah, student loans are to keep you in the rat race for the rest of your life. College is a scam. Go to trading school. Be an apprentice somewhere. Exactly. But, you tell a lot of people, look, I'm going to be a welder. I'm going to be a carpenter or something like that. And people, oh, I'm going to go to school and I'm going to study business. That's what it is, guys. Champ is woke, Lord. I'm thankful for the stream today, y'all. Shout out to Archie. Thanks for tuning in, Archie. This is our second live stream, Archie. I'm not really talking about crypto today, although I did in the morning. But just so you know, I do these open discussions every Friday. So if you're enjoying this content, you may want to check out all the other streams that we did on Fridays. I should put them in a playlist, or if somebody else wants to put them in a playlist, I'll be happy to share them. But every Friday we do a second live stream, and we have an open discussion. We chop it up and find out how to be better men, and in this case, better people, because there's obviously a few crypto chicks here. I know Archie's not the only one. We've had a few other ones drop by, but like I said, it's mostly men. But it's all good. You're welcome here, and I'm glad that you're enjoying the content. Queen says, Champ, if you live around me, I know I can definitely have a beer with you and some good convo. Also, you take your camera out. Be careful. Sometimes people call the cops on people when they live stream. Yeah, indeed. I know definitely we would chop it up, Queen. Shout out to you. Joseph says, there will never be equality. If everyone is competitive and wants to be the best in the group. Reason we have the top 1% versus the poor. Some people will go above and beyond winning. Even the poor want to look like the big men in suits. Yeah, and then there you go. I mean, you hit upon a topic that I've talked about in the past, and one I've gained more understanding with is this equality meme. Okay, equality sounds great. I mean, it sounds equal for everybody. But listen, guys, you got to ask yourself, and this is when somebody actually asked me this question when I was definitely pro equality, because the beliefs that I have now and the wisdom that I've gained, I didn't always have, and I'm continuing to try to build on it. But I was once one that said, equality for everything, because it sounds great. It sounds just. But someone asked me, it's like, Champ, is there equality in heaven? Because look into it. Even the angels have rankings, and Joseph is right. You know, there's always competition, but also competition's good because competition makes people improve. If everybody was equal, then there would be no reason to be better. Think about that, guys. If everybody was equal, then there would be no incentive to be better, because if you were better, then you're automatically no longer equal. You see what I'm saying? So this socialism, this commie meme, they want to sell you the equality, but at the end of the day, equality gives no incentive to be better. Think about that, guys. Yes, I was here last Friday. Very happy to hear you guys sharing knowledge. Very happy with the content and company, says Archie. Shout out to you, Archie. Welcome. And, you know, we get a little deep here, you know, on the Fridays. And we you know, with the crypto daily, we normally don't go into these conversations. But I think at least once a week, it's good to address these things. So, and go dive a little deeper into the rabbit holes. Shout out to Archie, Joseph, Queens, Jigger, Rome's, D-Rock, Derek, and the rest of the boomers. Yeah, I want to do a stream. No one's asking you to have equal outcomes. The argument is for equal opportunities. Really? Really, though? I mean, because a lot of these, what is $1,000 for everyone? That's an equal outcome for everyone. That's not equal opportunity. So you got to watch out. You got to watch out. Equal opportunity, you know, I don't even know if that's even possible. You know, I don't even know if it's even possible, but, you know, definitely equal outcomes is part of the argument as well. They, like, you know, they want to pay everybody equally. They want everybody to be, they want equality of outcome as well as equality of opportunities. Champ, do you interpret the Bible literally or figuratively? More, you know, I would say more figuratively, but as I've grown, I take it more literal, but, you know, I'm still learning, I'm still studying, and I'm still trying to gain understanding. It's been a while since I really picked up the good book on my own and started reading it through. I'm reading the New Testament as of late. I just finished Mark and Luke in its entirety, and I'm going through it to restudy it, and I'm trying to gain understanding, because, you know, sometimes it's tough to take it literal. You know, I understand that, you know, there's nothing's perfect. And sometimes, you know, you question what you're reading, but then maybe you end up reading it 2 years from now and you get something different out of it. So I'm still gaining understanding. I'm not, you know, a pastor or anything like that. I don't know all the answers, guys. You can't agree people will do the same thing with their money. No, but if they're all receiving the same, that's an equality of outcome, because their outcome is the money that they receive, like what they get. Now, what they do with it, you know, you're right. But in a system that's already trying to make everybody equal, then you're going to be restricted with what you could do with your money. There's going to be a regulation with that money. There's going to be stipulations. So I don't want anything to do with the equality mean. Snipe it out the box. Equality gives no incentive to be better. If everything is equal, then there's no reason to be different or even better or worse, for that matter. I feel the NWO has shifted to Asia. Asia is growing too powerful. These short men with small eyes are incredibly intelligent. Yeah, and listen, that's what I was saying. You know, people at the top of the pyramid, it doesn't matter what culture they may or may not be from. You know, it's a system of wizardry and coercion and manipulation so that they can remain at the top of the pyramid. The Bible will confuse you if you don't have a strong constitution. Yeah, it could confuse a lot of people. Yeah. How are they forcing equal outcomes? Well, you know, I'm not saying they are on all means, but when you're talking about like a communist or socialist system, it's to make everybody the same. And if they're going to give everybody the same amount of money, that's like, why that number? Why, you know, like that's a force. Like, oh, I'm going to give everybody the same amount of money. You're forced to receive the same amount of money. Right. If we're all equal, what would be the incentive to work and learn? I'll just sit at home and get my check. There you go. It's a meme out there, guys. It sounds great. I mean, like, listen, I've read Marx. It sounds awesome. You know, like the workers, you know, taking back the production and everybody being equal and stuff like that, you know. And that's because people, this world is fallen. So, you know, capitalism and, you know, listen, even to survive, you got to kill. And there's already a problem right there. It's like, you got to be a killer to survive. And that's like, this world, you know, is messed up. You know, you gotta swallow that pill, guys. And you got to try to manage it as best as you can. If everybody were millionaires, nobody would work. If everybody were millionaires, then being a millionaire wouldn't put you above anything. It's like you'd be the same as everybody. An hour and 20 minutes here on this live stream. I think we touched on a lot of subjects. My intent, guys, is to really cover the culture of Marxism, critical theory, and the Frankfurt School, because I really think it's at the core of what's going on right now. And you got to really understand the plan and how they're weaving it through the propaganda, through the school system, and how it's been a slow drip, little by little, degrading the culture and changing things from the inside instead of having a all-out war with bombs. Greed is natural. I mean, why does it even exist in the first place? And most animals have it too. Greed, dominance, and territorial power. Yeah, exactly. But, you know, if you read the good book, everything is fallen. Everybody's born a sinner. We already are messed up from the beginning. So we need to seek higher understanding, faith, and ultimately to go to a higher place of elevation. So, you know, that's when you understand, like, you know, of course there's greed in the world. I mean, it's explained to us right there in the first book. Cover that in the next stream, champ. Yeah, maybe I will there, Derek. Maybe I will. But I encourage you to check it out on your own. You know, just don't listen to Champagne out there. I'm not trying to be like the guy that has all the answers. I'm like, there's a lot of times people ask me stuff and I said, I don't know. You know, I don't know everything. So, you know, maybe you could read it too. And when we learn about it and when we talk about it, you know, you could chime in and throw your opinions. I believe greed is part of the fallen human nature. Exactly, Queens. Everything's fallen out here. This isn't, you know, a lot of people, and, you know, you could look at it this, you know, like the devil runs this world. You know, he's the one that's running it. And that's the thing with atheists. And I want to leave with this. Those that don't believe in the Lord. If you don't believe in the Lord, then by default, you probably don't believe in the devil. And let me tell you, if you don't believe in the devil, then you're already lost, because that's the number one thing that he wants you to not believe in is him. So, you know, you don't believe the devil. Like, think about it. Let's look at it like this. Let's say, consider the devil does exist. All right. Just for this thought experiment, forget about your own personal belief. Let's say, okay, yes, the devil is true. How would he operate with the best trickery? And the best way to even stay off the radar is to make you believe he don't even exist. So that's the problem with atheists too. You got to believe in God. You also got to understand that there's the dark and the light, and then the dark side, we're in it. So that's why, you know, you should believe in the big man, so that you can understand there's a bad guy too, and you got to steer clear of that. Because if you don't think there's a bad guy, that's all good for you. But if you don't think there's a bad guy, and indeed there is, then you're lost. You forgot. They got you. Quantum Jumper said, champ, the book of Enoch is a solid read if you're reading the New Testament. Thank you. Yeah, I know about the book of Enoch, and I've read some excerpts, although I can't say that, you know, I'm knowledgeable, and I haven't read it in its entirety, but I will check it out. I mean, I like to read all that stuff. Champ likes to get deep into it and study. You know, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, guys. I think it's paramount. I think it's good, though, when the U.S. culture changes over time. At one time, it was okay in the U.S. culture to be racist. I mean, you know, that's partially true. Yeah. I mean, like, I'm not saying everything about culture is good. And indeed, like, you know, culture at the end of the day is short for cult. Okay. You know, culture itself is a meme too. Like, let's keep it 1,000. Culture is cult. Okay. It's right there, you know, so I understand what you mean, Derek. Do all living things want to be the alpha? Look what happens to lions when the old alpha gets replaced. The strong overtake the weak. Some will protect the weak at all costs, but the weak want more. Yeah, yeah. Derek says, I don't know about that, champ. I believe in God, but I don't know about heaven or hell. I believe when we die, everyone goes to the same place. Yeah, you got to understand them. You know, if you believe in God, then how could you not believe in heaven? Isn't that like, you know, maybe you're trying to believe in what you want God to be, not what he is. Have you ever thought of that? You know, it's not what you want. It's what he wants. Have you ever thought of that? You know, just as a thought experiment, maybe what you think you're believing in is what you think God is, not what he is. It's like you're imagining it and you're thinking, yeah, I believe in this, but like, think about it. Is that really what, you know, is God not part of heaven? I mean, like, think about it. If there was a supreme perfect being, does heaven not exist too as a perfection? You know, then if you believe in God, then I don't know out there, Derek. Atheist, why risk your soul going to hell? You must be born again to make it into the kingdom of God. Absolutely. Absolutely. Joel Cortez says, ask me if I can define socialism. You know, you could, that's, you know, you're just trying to do a word play. It's like a little, oh, do you know exactly what socialism is? It's like, it sounds like a trap question. It doesn't matter out there. It's garbage. That's what I define it as, garbage. Speaking of culture, yeah, we barely survived the 90s. Everyone was a gangster back then. God is whom we want God to be. There you go. That's definitely, you know, if you're leading it with that, then I disagree with you, Cortez. God is not what you want him to be. It is what he is. But again, I mean, you know, I'm not trying to argue about that because I've said this before. You know, when you talk about these types of subjects, at the end of the day, and this is, you know, the truth. It's about faith. I can't be here giving you statistical facts or scientific evidence or stuff like that. So we can go back and forth, and I can't, or neither could you, approve or disapprove on what we're talking about. It ends up being in faith. So I don't mean to offend you, by the way. I'm interested in your thought process. I just told you, you know, it's based on faith. You know, it's based on faith. I'm not dealing with science here. Yeah, God is whom we want God to be. That's what the devil would make you believe. Do not be deceived. It's deceived. Exactly. Nano Joe. Exactly. So just think of it in a thought process. Maybe like, you put yourself as a third person. If there was a devil, I'm not saying like maybe you don't believe in, that's fine. But for the purpose of the argument, think if there was a devil, how would he want you to think? He'd be wanting you to think that, you know, you can make things on your own terms and that God could be whatever you want to be. And, you know, all these types of things. And that's deception. And again, it's, you know, Cortez, it's when I'm saying my thought process, when I'm talking about here is based in faith. Absolutely. Yes. So, you know, you could take it or leave it. That's, you know, if you don't have the faith, then you just don't have it. That's fine. Derek sees God as the creator of the universe. Okay. So maybe you're not seeing God completely then, because he's so much more. In my faith, again, in my faith. A lot of people want God to be the way they make him up to be, but it's not like that. He's a higher power, pure in the heart, and takes a lot of us as offense because we were all lost. Exactly. Queens gets it. He seems to be more along the lines of what you know, our faith seems to match up. And again, I'm not here. I'm not mad at you guys if you're not agreeing with me. That's cool. I'm just out here to say what I believe is the truth. And I guess the correct thing to say here is to profess my faith, right? I'm staunch Catholic, by the way, says Cortez. Yeah, and I appreciate your you're not offending me, by the way, Cortez. It's all good out here. I mean, like we're all crypto brothers here, and like me and Derek have disagreed a bunch of times. And ask Derek. I mean, it's all good, you know. It's okay, you know. We don't have to agree. We don't have to be equal in all of our beliefs. Cortez, you see what I mean? We don't have to be exactly equal in all our beliefs. Jigger Rome says, devil wants to do as thou wilt. Exactly, Jigger Rome. And that's why, you know, these occult practices, the Hermetic principles, the Talmud, and the rest of these dark arts, especially the pyramid there in the back of the bill, like, you know, these do as thou wilt. The Secret, that's another one. That's occult, black magic. It's bullshit. Out there. I felt for the Secret meme for a while. I'll tell you that one. I was like, oh, for sure. Like, you know, you know, and again, some of these things, the occult practices and the hermetic principles could actually help you in this world. You know, like, you know, the devil could help you get certain things. You know, black magic could help you get certain things in this physical world, but they come at a cost. They come at a long-term cost. Takes us as orphans because we're all lost as Queens. Shout out to Queens. I know we're tuned in there, Queens. Shout out to you. We're going on an hour and a half here on this live stream. I appreciate you, maniacs. I said this like 20 minutes ago. I'm going to wrap this up, but this time I'm for real. So I'll take like another minute. It got a little religious out here. So I should have said open discussion, diet, exercise, spirituality, politics, and more. Maybe I should put that word in there, spirituality, or should I throw religion? I'll throw spirituality. I just added that to the title. There you go. What does it profit a man to gain the whole world but lose his soul? Jesus is the way. There you go, Nano. The reason I think when we die, we all go to the same place because we make something good or bad. That's up to interpretation. You know, there you go. You're putting yourself as the one that makes the decision. It's like, oh, it's up to my interpretation. No, it's not. Okay, it's not up to your interpretation. Okay, you're not at the center of the universe. Okay, if you have the faith and you're following what we believe. If not, if you don't have the faith, maybe you are at the, you know, that's the secret. It's like, oh, I can think my way and I could, you know, it's all me. It puts you at the center. But no, you know, at what cost? You may lose your soul out there. You're right there, Nano. Look into it, Derek. I mean, you know, you may want to pick up the good book or listen to other people that have faith. And listen, it seems, you know, and this is why I take a liking to Derek, because a lot of he seems like a young man that believes a lot of the things that I used to believe when I was that age. You know, you go to the college, you're out there just having fun. And at the end of the day, you know, people have used religion to like scam people so many times that it's left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. You know, there's false prophets out there. There's a lot more false prophets than real ones. And it may lead you to end up believing that it's up to your interpretation because there's so much scams out there. At the end of the day, you're like, well, I'm going to handle this my own. And I'm going to figure this out on my own. But I encourage you to not only listen to me, maybe, you know, listen to other people that have the faith and, you know, and consider it. You know, maybe it's not for you or maybe you don't. But I appreciate that you at least are asking questions. No, I'm asking what makes something good or bad. Like in some culture, it's okay to beat your wife, but the other is it's a sin. You know, I don't understand all the other cultures. I don't follow them, so I can't give you an explanation for everything. You know, all I can tell you is what I know. I can speak for me. Eating some Monster Mash, gonna hit the gym after the stream. Didn't get coffee today. Champ got me hype. Indeed, the Monster Mash out there, you know, making a little, going back to the diet. Good sirloin, ground sirloin with the rice out there, and the gentleman effort, he puts it in like one of those thermal cups or the Yeti cups, the tin cans, and it keeps it hot all day. So that's what Monster Mash. You just mix up all the good stuff, throws it in a thermos. Basically, it stays hot all day so that you have a good meal when you're on the road. Shout out to D-Rock. I like that. All I could do besides text is pray for everybody in the chat. Just knowing your screen name is good enough for the Holy Spirit to find you and work your life. Shout out to Queens out there. Joseph said, Isaiah 47:7, I form good and create all evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. I'm wondering here. Yeah, the Lord made everything. Yeah, he made good and bad. Absolutely. No, I'm asking what makes something good or bad. Okay, we read that. Amen. Jesus is the only one that said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Absolutely. Quantum says this life is enviable, but our souls are forever. Thus why Satan is after our souls. I believe that too. Derek says, and some sins can send you to hell. Yeah, you're just asking about other cultures and other things that, I mean, I can't speak for other people and what their logical process is. So, you know, I don't know out there, Derek. Reed Max says, amen. Nano says, I was an unbeliever at one point, folks, but God opened my eyes to the truth of the God of the Bible, basic instructions before leaving Earth. Indeed, shout out to the Jizza out there. I know about that. It's a nice acronym for the Bible, basic instructions before leaving Earth. That's a cool way to look at it. Derek says, I know the word. I went to a Catholic high school, and my grandfather was a Christian pastor of a church his whole life and graduated from Moody Bible Institute in Chicago. Okay, good, good. I mean, you may want to reconsider it. And listen, Catholicism, I mean, I could criticize it a lot as well. I mean, this is something I just learned too while reading the Bible on my own. I think it was in Mark or Luke. I'll find you the quote. Maybe somebody knows, but you're not supposed to call another man your father unless he's your father directly. So like calling the priest father, like that in the Bible says not to do that. So there's parts of Catholicism that's screwed up as well, So, you got to kind of do your own research and then find your faith, Kenny Force with the 5. Thank you, Kenny. I appreciate you. Boom. Dropping the bills off the ceiling for Kenny Force. He's got 5 in the super chat. He's got 5 on it, guys. If you got 5 on it, drop it here in the bucket. Indeed. Keeps me going. I appreciate it. We've been shadow banned, and now we're talking about the good word out there. I'm sure that these things are not going to be promoted on YouTube. They want to. They want to sell you little memes and gossip out there, guys. They're not going to put this one at the front of the stream. They don't want to monetize this with ads. But when guys like Kenny Force catch my back, I appreciate it. Thank you, Kenny. Thank you. Catholics are deceiving. That's a man-made religion. Yeah. I'll be honest. I mean, I study Catholicism a lot, and I've gone to, I wouldn't say Catholic high school, but I've gone to Catholic school before, and I've seen that there's some inconsistencies with what they've said and directly what I've read in the Bible as I've grown up. So, that's what it is. Derek says, I agree, champ. I'm not Catholic. I'm just Christian. There you go. But I did learn a lot about the Bible in Catholic school, and so did I, Derek. But again, you got to gain knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and sometimes people come and they'll try to sell you something. You got to figure it out on your own, ask questions, and also come to the realization that we're never going to be perfected here in this world. So we're going to make mistakes, and as long as you got good faith, then we should be all good. I grew up as a Catholic. Their churches are full of idols, says Nano Joe, and they also worship Mary and pray to dead saints, shaking my head. Koran Bell says, hello, what did I miss? You miss a lot on this one, Koran. You miss a lot on this one. We're an hour and 36 minutes. We've talked about everything: diet, exercise, religion, spirituality, politics. This one got deep out there, and, I encourage you to check out this stream because this one has been a good one. Kenny Force with the 5. Thank you again, Kenny. I appreciate you. All right, guys. Koran, you kind of came a little late. I'm tuning this broadcast down because I went a lot longer than I expected. This is probably the longest Friday broadcast that I've ever done. 1 hour and 36 minutes is a long one. Derek McLean says, champ, great stream. Bless up. Have a good day. You too, Derek. Enjoy yourself out there. And guys, instead of getting all deep down the rabbit holes, let's keep it simple. Why don't you guys go out there, enjoy the sun, get a little vitamin D on the skin, and hit the gym, stay healthy, and maybe have some food here from the vertical diet plan. Maybe get yourself some white rice or steak, drink some orange juice or cranberry juice, eat some eggs or something. Sometimes you don't got to get so deep out there. But, once a week, we'll go deep on them. $2 so they don't hide this stream, says Queens. Thank you, Queens. Always showing love. Shout out to Queens. You guys show love to Queens out there. He's racing the cars. Become a sub there. I'm not sure if you're posting videos as of late, Queens, but you should. I mean, I'm sending people over to you. I'm telling people to follow you. Koran says, we like deep. There you go. Okay. I'll continue to do these broadcasts on Fridays if you guys like them. Cortez, if we find our wisdom and interpretation in the good book, then how do we know it's right? Again, Cortez, like I said to you, it's about faith. Again, it's about faith. I mean, I don't have a better answer for you. I would love to whip out some science on you and tell you, here you go, and give you data. But, I'm logical enough to admit that, it's about faith. So that's how you know it's right. You got to find the faith and, how it sits with you and continue to explore that, Cortez. So. And understand, if you do have faith, you're going to know that you're not always going to be right. We're fallen, so we're going to be messed up. We're going to make mistakes out there. Kenny says, I grew up Catholic as well, was kicked out of CCD when I challenged a higher up asking, why is confession a practice when the Bible says there's no mediator between you and God? There you go. Yeah, I read that too. So it looks like the confession is not directly in tune with what the Bible says. You're right, Kenny. D-Rock says, yeah, and grow your beards and review the charts and symmetric strength. Shout out to D-Rock. I've been knocking people for growing these long commie beards looking like Che out there, looking like Fidel. Everybody got a long beard nowadays. And I'm rocking with Owen Benjamin nowadays. He's pulling out the mustache. He's trying to make the mustache cool again because everybody tries to associate the mustache with pornography. But he's been showing like strong men in the past that had mustache. And, maybe we can make the mustache cool instead of the beard, because there's definitely been some powerful men in the past that had mustaches. So, yeah. Reed Mack with the $2. Thank you, Reed. He says, much love, bros. Thank you, Reed, for the $2. I appreciate it. Another crypto brother. Reed Mack 77. Second time you show love today, like Queens is the second time. Another $2. Let me throw some bills. Guys, thank you. Reed Mack, Queens Races, the boomers out there. Roger Oliver as well. I remember you. Kaboom. Catholics do not worship Mary. They praise her. She's not a god, says Willie T. Okay. Queens Races says, champ, it's been cold outside. A lot of people ain't racing in the winter. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I'm not out there right now. I mean, I was in New York City for a while, several years. I wasn't living in Queens, but I would go to Jackson Heights a lot. I know definitely a lot of people in Queens. Koran says, read about Hermeticism, secret teaching. Yeah, we mentioned it. The occult practices out there. Definitely not something that I support. You can go on YouTube and watch many testimonies of Muslims and atheists finding Jesus. And there's also tons of hell and heaven testimonies. Okay, Nano, thanks for sharing that. Queen's Races is saying kaboom to Reed. Thank you, Reed, once again. D-Rock says, spent 20 years of being forced to shave my face for work. Enjoyed the beer I can grow. Messing with you, but it puts a smile on my face. It's all good, D-Rock. I'm just playing games out there. Whatever you guys feel is good. There's been some wise men with some beers too. So, it's not always associated with socialism and commies, but lately it has, at least. All right, guys, I'm done for today. I appreciate all you maniacs catching my back while I was down today, because I lost the baby canine out there, little champagne canine. I told you guys at the beginning of the stream. It's been a rough week for Champ and the family. So, definitely send your positive energy this way if you find to have that faith. If not, a comment or whatever it is, it's all good. Cortez says, could you touch on those real quick, the Hermetic secrets? I'll leave that for another broadcast. I'm really out of here. But, if you want to learn about that, it's got the Hermetic principles. And that's what Quran is talking about. We already read that. Have a great weekend, says D-Rock. You too. Joseph says, what amount of money is enough once your family's good with food, shelter, and what you need billions for? A lot of people do not need billions in their bank. You make a point. On that note, guys, stay tuned in to the Good Crypto Word. Hit the like, the subscribe, the post notification bell, the ding ding. Make sure you catch these broadcasts early in the morning. Not so early, maybe sometime after 10 a.m. Eastern. And then on Fridays, we do the second live stream. If maybe I'll make a playlist with all the Friday live streams in one place so that you guys can see them. Maybe somebody else could do that. We'll see. Champ, the last video I uploaded was 9 minutes of straight racing, all the runs from this year. Okay, great. Yeah, guys, check out if you like racing cars and stuff. Queens Race has got a good channel for that. But I have to post more vids. Yeah, if you post vids, I'll definitely, send people your way. Anybody that's a YouTuber here as well, throwing up vids, I always try to show them love. We have a couple YouTubers that they stop by, show love. I'm thinking of Currency 365. He's one of the crypto YouTubers that passed by. We've seen Truce in the building. Crypto comedian. So, I always try to point people into the brothers' directions. Peace, boomers. Great stream, champ. Peace to you, Jojo. Thank you so much. Take care, champ, and the rest of the crypto fam and Jesus fam. Love y'all. Love you too, Nano. Everybody out there. I love nothing but love out there. Thank you for catching my back this week and all the other weeks as well. On that note, I'm out of here. It's the voice of the blockchain here, Satoshi's biggest cousin, cryptography's finest, Champagne Crypto. Thanks for tuning in.